Leopold, I see you. Leopold, you are muted, my friend.
Sorry about that. Hi, Jimmy. Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
comment allez-vous, Leopold?
Je vais très bien. Et toi?
Comme ci, comme ça? Ou, gee, my French sucks. But no, I'm good. Très
That's
bon. How
fine.
about that? Très bon. Very good. All right, Leopold, let me see if you tell me. I'm going to try my best to pronounce your last name. I don't know how many letters you have in your last name, but Yahouedeou.
Oh, you got it.
I've been practicing. I want to, out of respect, I want
But
to get it
just say
right.
Leopold. I'm fine with that also.
Yeah, I want to get it right. But Leopold, I really appreciate you getting on the call. You were certainly a major highlight, at least for me, and maybe because I've known you for a long time, but major highlight at NatCon in Austin. And obviously you were the highlight at NatCon in Montreal. And, you know, first, first things first, congratulations on your promotion to consultant. So way to go,
Thank,
my friend.
thank you. Thank you so much.
And so I thought it would be great. I mean, a lot of the team doesn't know you in the United States. I mean, you're not necessarily on the radar. You're not on a lot of the calls. You're not on the same campaigns. So I'd love to start off with getting your history, Leopold, and I might fill in some of the blanks, some of the details, because I have a question to follow up after your history, because your history is quite unique, and I do want to capture, really the 20 years in a very short speech here, 20 years of your history. So go ahead, give us your background coming into the business.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Talking about oneself is a challenging task, but I will do without pretension. Um, my academic journey has been both unique and diverse. I hold a PhD in dentistry and possess three bachelor's degrees, one in biology, another in law and economics, and the third in computer science. I have also an executive master's degree in business administration. Additionally, for my personal enjoyment, I pursued studies in gemology with a specialization in raw diamond grading. And currently, I'm enrolled in a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certification course. I have successfully operated companies on three continents, Africa, Europe, and North America, in various industries, including telecom, solar energy, electronic equipment, computer software, import-export, and business consulting. I had the privilege of serving as the national president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce of Senegal, where I met John Black, who recruited me. And on a personal side, I'm a widower, but a father of five wonderful children, four boys and one girl. I joined the business in 2021, right? So
2001.
2 years in the business right now. I've been officially promoted as ICL owner in October 2003. And then, as you know, for the business, had a lot of people that came in and then quit. And, I think that the pandemic was something that happened, but happened a lot because suddenly, because everything was shut down in Canada, it allowed us, when we returned to work, just to have an extraordinary, you know, uh, growth. And actually, I have something like 14 ICL in my organization right now.
All right, Leopold. Well, I'm going to fill in some of the blanks because, and you just correct me if I'm wrong with any of my information here, okay? Because your history is unique. I mean, as you're describing all your education, like we don't find a lot of resumes like that on Indeed, and like, hey, come on in for an entry level position. That's just not happening. So aside from that, okay, so I'm going to fill in some of the blanks. So you meet John Black. So John, for those of you guys that don't know, John Black was doing business like within our company in Africa. He's on the Chamber of Commerce, and that's where he meets Leopold, who's, you know, obviously he's got these credentials in dentistry, PhD in dentistry. And so you decide to move with John to Canada in 2001, in July of 2001, so 22 years ago. You left your wife behind in Africa to get set up, your wife and kids. And again, tell me if I'm wrong on these numbers, but your children, you had 5 of them, 10, 6, 4, 2, and a 7-month-old baby. Okay, so far so good.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your information are absolutely correct.
And so, and you've brought this up, and I hate to bring a dark cloud on this conversation, but while you came to Canada, and again, your family was back in Africa, your wife passed away. And so the last time you saw your wife was in Senegal, right before you moved to Montreal to start off in the business with, you know, Johnny Noir, and he's pitching you on this great opportunity. And so, and again, 22 years of powering through the business to get promoted to consultant. So my first question, just by adding some of that color, I just thought I don't want people to miss that. Like you went through hell. Like I don't know a lot of guys that have that kind of story of adversity, Leopold. And I've always known you to be a guy with a big smile on your face. You're always upbeat. I just want to know, just right off the bat, in the world of attitude maintenance, how do you overcome adversity? How do you look at adversity? How do you deal with this?
I'll start by being general, not focus on my specific case, but what I learned from life. And to achieve lasting success in life, you must possess significant mental strength. And I can describe 4 things that you need to have. First, you must maintain a strong sense of self-esteem without diminishing others. Secondly, it is normal to experience, doubts, fears, concerns. However, you must not allow these feelings to take control instead. You should continue to move forward. Occasionally, if the desired results are not achieved, you must learn from failure, turn the page, and quickly take action again. Easy to say, but as you mentioned, when my wife passed away, it was really a big shock. But what could I do? And at the same time, I was having people in my team, in my office. Should I let everybody down and then go back to Africa and just taking care of my kids? Yes, I talked about that, right? But I was saying, she will never come back to life. And there was a reason for me to be in North America, in Canada, was that I want to build a better future for my children. This was my why. So, no, my why was stronger than anything. And I think that for my own kids and for also people in my office that trusted me, I need to keep on going. Thirdly, it is crucial to avoid dwelling on misfortunes. Period. Fourthly, stepping out of your comfort zone is essential. Accepting exposure to the unknown allows for a different perspective and reinforce the self-esteem I was talking about, enabling the development of unwavering character. Once again, Jimmy, easy to say, but emotion will always be there. And you need just to be strong. You just need to be strong, mentally strong.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, to your point, I mean, the emotion will be there. I can't imagine what that was like when you've got the phone call and how difficult that was. And then again, your course of action is you're thinking about other people, thinking about the people in your office. I mean, I would like to think that most of us in that moment would be focused on ourselves and our kids, and yet you had the bandwidth to think about, everybody around you. I mean, that's quite special, Leopold. I don't think that's common.
To add to that, one of the guys that was in my office when they called me was Bokar. And what I thought, Bokar has a decent, he has some degrees, and he's a French guy, a black French guy. And, his parents was not too sure that he has to join the business. And I was thinking about him, and I met his parents. They came to Canada, his mom and dad, and then they say, okay, we trust you. The life of our son is in your hand. And I remember all those things. And what should I say to the parents of this kid? It was a lot of responsibility, and
that's amazing. And eventually your children, they one at a time, they came over to Canada, got educated in the Canadian school system.
Absolutely. So I'm just missing the elder, good life in Africa, so he's not coming. And I'm just missing my daughter, waiting, is a sponsorship. It takes a long time, right? But I'm confident that probably in the next 6 months, she'll be in Canada, so I'll be happy at that time.
That's great. And for those of you that didn't see Leopold's promotion, I mean, that's quite a special moment. I mean, you had the dancers, dancing. You were in, I'm not sure what you would call that attire, the suit that you wear.
The traditional wardrobe kind.
Yeah.
And it's really specific to I would say West Africa countries. And I was wearing the hat that was specific to 2 countries, I would say, Nigeria and Republic of Benin, my homeland. But the only thing is that it's the way that we wear that, that thing. So yeah. I want just to show my African roots, kind of,
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great, Leopold. And so you've brought up Bokar. I mean, over the years, I've gotten to know your team, really well, and really impressive guys. I remember it was either last year or the year before when I really got to meet Moriak, and him and I don't know if this is inappropriate or not. We got to know each other in a nightclub, I think Lit. I think it was called Lit in Dallas or wherever we were. And what a special guy. Like, I'll never forget even just meeting Moriak, and, we're talking, and of course his English isn't, so good. And so, but he grabs me by 2 hands. He's looking me in the eye, just kind of piercing my soul with his eyes. I'm like, oh, this is a special guy here. He's the only guy really giving Brennan Fulkerson a run for his money for top spot this year. It's Brennan and then Moriak right behind him. So obviously, Moriak's he's a heavyweight. He's going to do $2.5 to $3 million in revenue this year. You've got Sammy. I mean, Sammy's no joke. You've got Nabil. Like, you've got a star-studded lineup. So just to shift gears into kind of the nuances of recruiting and developing people, what are your thoughts on attracting top talent? We all want a Bokar, Moriak, and all these guys on our teams. what's your go-to for recruiting? What's your go-to for the development of your people? How are you looking at that?
Good question. Good questions. If you want to attract extraordinary individuals to you, you must become an extraordinary person in their eyes. You must learn to genuinely care about others, ask questions, and listen attentively to their response. Once a connection is established, you have to make the effort to maintain that connection, but never take it for granted. So it's something continued. Be the person who builds others up, not the one who tries to tear them down. Because people want to be surrounded by individuals who make them feel valued and appreciated. You have to show others that you care about them. You have to highlight their strengths and always let them know that you believe in them and what they do. Limit the time you spend with people who drain your energy. Simple as that. We are naturally drawn to successful individuals who have a clear plan. So learn to communicate your vision to others. I would say that make the invisible aspect of your vision clear to them through your enthusiasm and your words. Enthusiasm and your words. So this is really the thing that I think that helps me.
And so even like you attracted these guys way before success came your way.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's not like you're pulling up to your office in your Mercedes Benz. I mean, you were living a modest life in Montreal, coming from your background in Africa. So, I mean, they had to have been attracted to you, not so much your success yet. Like they must have known this guy Leopold's going somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay. And so what do you say to somebody that has a limiting belief coming in? I mean, the joke I'll pin it on John Wiggins. I mean, he was making a joke like, well, finally, there's somebody now who's a consultant that's older than me, so, you're in your 60s. I don't want to kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Right? So you're not the spring chicken coming in necessarily. You did mention in the video, like you said, hey, listen, look at the color of my skin here, you guys. Like, so what do you say to somebody who's got a limiting belief, either, I'm too old or, my background or anything? Like, what would you say?
Okay, Jimmy. Before addressing this question, I would say that there is a common example of limiting beliefs. I'm not capable. I'm too old or too young. I do not have enough time. I do not have enough experience. I do not have enough money. I will never be among the best. I'm not talented enough. I will never be a good leader. These types of limiting beliefs stem from a sense of fear that everyone experiences at some points. So your question is, okay, so what to do? I think there is 7 things that you can do. The very first thing is listen and understand what the other person dreams of accomplishing in life. His why. You need to catch his why. The second, you have to precisely identify what makes them doubt themselves. The third, you have to reassure them about their ability to improve over time, right? You have to set achievable, and I insist on achievable, short, medium, and long-term goals. The fourth is you have to connect them directly with people who are similar to them and who have succeeded in our business model. What I mean by similar to them, it is, for example, same education, same social status, same professional background, same life experiences, same origin, etc. So they can, they can be attracted. They can say, okay, this guy did it. So I understand. And he's successful. But not talking about someone randomly they don't know about and just talking about the success of others, but there is no link, there is no bond. The fifth will be celebrate each of their successes, even the minor ones. Another thing is patiently demonstrate to them that their current successes are linked to the application of the system. I mean the 3, 5, 4, and 8 that you know. And at the last, maybe teach them to use positive affirmation every time they speak. Positive affirmations every time they speak.
Leopold, you're such a professional.
Oh. As you know that my English is not my mother tongue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be rational when I'm trying, to express myself. And so sorry for my accent once again.
Oh, no, you apology not accepted. We will not take an apology, but you're just a professional. I mean, you prepare. I mean, even at NatCon, I was privileged to see your video twice at NatCon, and I'm going to create a HEP Huddle video just on, your video. But Terry, the guy that ran the production, says, yeah, Leopold comes into the office. He did one take. He didn't have to do multiple takes. He came in, he was prepared with the script and he just belted it out and in and out of his office in like 7 minutes or something like that. Like you're a true professional. I ask you these questions and you're like, let me give you 7 things. Let me give you 5 things. Like you put some thought into this and you nail it. I mean, you hit it out of the park. I mean, I've never heard anybody really say limiting beliefs are rooted in fear. And as you said that, and then you rattled through those 7 things, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of truth in what you said, Leopold.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're a professional. And so I have one more question, and then I'll open it up for hopefully a couple questions here, time permitting. So what's your vision now? Now that you've hit the milestone, now probably took you a little longer than you thought, right? It's like, 22 years. Yeah, John Black told me I'd do it in 5. What was he talking about? So here you did it in 22, but what's the vision now?
I really, truly think that there is no glass ceiling to limit our ambition in this business model. Only our lack of willpower can hinder the accomplishment of what we genuinely want to achieve for others and therefore for ourselves. So I recently stated during my promotion as an organizational consultant that I aspire to contribute to the global expansion of Sept to the best of my abilities and skills. In 20 years, I dream of Sept having more than 100 representatives around the world. This is my dream, Jimmy. 100,000 in 20 years. Maybe I will be alive, maybe not, but this is really my dream. Because I think that we have, what we have, which is different, is all the training of leadership. And anything that is happening in this world now, all the bad things that are happening, is because of a lack of leadership. And at all the stages, we need this leadership. Leadership is not necessary to guy that is running the country, the president, for example. It is at any level of the society, we need strong leaders. And this is what we teach to our people. The development that we are bringing to them, the personal development is just amazing. And believe me, right now I'm still a trainer and a senator of the Junior Chamber International. That has some similarity with what we're doing, but I'm telling you, Sitco is probably the best school of leadership that people, they just practice it. It's not just reading and just following somebody in social media. You practice all these things daily. So 100,000. This is my magic number for Sitco.
That's great. That's funny you say that. I had a rep that I worked with 20 years ago. Okay, a lot's happened over 20 years. He reaches out to me today and asks if his son can come work in our company. He says, I just want him to work with you guys for about a month or so, as he wants to bring his son into the family business. But he echoed the exact same thing you said. He's like, there's no better training in the world than what you guys have to offer. Absolutely. The sales training, the leadership training, like he was sold on it. And again, he was a rep 20 years ago in the business that now wants his son involved. So interesting to see how this would play out around the world, huh?
Yeah.
You're going to leave Montreal? It's too
My
cold.
dream is to go to Europe first.
Okay.
But talking with John Wigan, his thing is there is so much, location, place in US. You must come to US first and things like that. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe. So my plan, Jimmy, is maybe to qualify as senior national consultant in Canada, another milestone. Then maybe move to US if I need to, stay there for a couple of years, and then back to Europe. And I'll tell you why Europe, because Europe has, the same level of development as North America. You can trust what is happening in the Western Europe. And from there, you can jump to Africa then. Africa, and by 2100 will be the largest, will have the largest population in the world, before India and before China. So just believe, maybe the currency is not strong there. Maybe people won't have the same income, but we can change the life of a lot of people, a lot. And this continent will be booming. So we need to train strong leaders that can change things in their community. And to me, this is the only way, to combat poverty. Is not to, to throw money to people there, through food and things like that. Develop people. Make sure that they become entrepreneurs, that they are taking care of their own life. Don't count on the government to change, the life of people. I don't think that. People have to be committed to their own life. So the only help, train them properly. So this is my plan. This is my vision. Hopefully, I don't know yet, but probably one of my sons will probably eventually join the business. But they have to take the decision by themselves, right? But he's the youngest of my sons, and I think that this will be my legacy, right?
That's great. That's great, Leopold. As you're talking about that and how you want to travel, I just pulled this out of my wallet. Can you see this?
Oh, Zimbabwe.
I tell my kids I'm a billionaire. I mean, this is $20 billion in Zimbabwe.
$20 billion.
Yeah. So what can I get for $20 billion in Zimbabwe?
I don't know. Maybe just a bread. I don't know what you can buy with it. But I think that they changed the currency after this. Yeah. So you've been a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm a billionaire right here. $20
Zimbabwe
billion,
dollars.
baby. It's a reminder to me on the power of inflation,
Yes.
right? It's a reminder like, hey, we gotta be careful here before
Totally.
we devalue our currency too much. But I don't want to get too much off topic. But Leopold, you're a stud, you're a gentleman, you're a professional. Like, we really enjoy having you. I think as I'm talking to you too, I'm like, I've got to get John Black on one of these calls too, because John's the guy who took the gamble years ago to go to Africa. I remember when he was like making the move to go to Africa. And I think he's got the record. I think he ran an ICL with like 300 and some reps in his office. Like, he's got these crazy stories that would blow your guys' minds. But when our business does expand and we leave the continent of North America, we're going to see some crazy things happen in some of these countries. So, Leopold, I'm glad you're at the cutting edge of all this, and you've got great people on your team. Again, love Bakar, Moriak, like you're doing some great things in our business. So thank you for giving us your time, my friend.
My pleasure, and thanks for inviting me. I do really appreciate this.
Great. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Leopold.
Thank you, Jimmy.